1.3, and we're going to be doing something called biconditional statements. So this is going to be just another step that's going to be inside the toolbox whenever you're dealing with conditional statements. And let's go ahead and jump into it. So the first thing we're going to look at is we're going to look at our key points here. So our key points are we're going to determine when a biconditional statement can be made. So what is the exact look we're going to be looking for whenever we have a biconditional, and then also how to write a biconditional statement when that happens. Okay, so we got to think the word bi means both ways, so it's a both way conditional, so it means it works both ways. So the first thing we're going to look at on number one is we're going to be looking at example number one, and I'm going to show you guys what I mean by biconditional. So here we go. So if two angles have the same measure, then the angles are congruent. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to switch it on its converse. So if two angles have the same measure, then the angles are congruent. So that's going to be true. So now if I was to do the converse of that, meaning I'm going to take the hypothesis and the conclusion, and I'm actually going to flip those. So if two angles have the same measure is going to be at the end, then the angles are going to be congruent. So here we go. So this is going to pop up here. So if the angles are congruent, then the angles have the same measure. So that means I did the converse. So now the thing you're going to look at is the converse is still true. So what biconditional means is when the conditional statement and the converse are both true, that makes it a biconditional statement. So what's going to happen whenever you have a biconditional statement, you're actually going to rewrite that. The truth value of the statement and the converse are going to be true. So whenever both of those are true, you're going to rewrite it as a biconditional. And the way you're going to do that is you're going to drop the if and then. So if and then, you're going to drop those. And then you're going to put in the middle of the two terms, if and only if. So again, drop the if and then and insert if and only if. So it should read, two angles have the same measure. And right here in this little spot right here, you're going to write if and only if the angles are congruent. So it should read, two angles have the same measure if and only if the angles are congruent. So ladies and gentlemen, this is what makes it a biconditional, whenever the conditional statement and the converse, when you flip it, are both true statements. Okay? Let's jump over to example number two. All right, so look at example number two. So it says, if two numbers have the sum of 25, then the two numbers are 20 and 5. Okay? So right now, if two numbers have the sum of 25, then the two numbers are 20 and 5. Okay? So right now, by looking at that conditional here, that's going to end up being true. So if two numbers have the sum of 25, then the two numbers are 20 and 25. Okay? So let's go ahead and write the converse of both of those. So I'm going to flip it. So that means it's going to be right here. Converse, if two numbers are 20 and 5, then the two numbers have the sum of 25. So let's go and look at the truth value of those statements. So just looking at the conditional, if two numbers have the sum of 25, then the two numbers are 20 and 25. Well, 20 and 5 do add up to 25, but those two numbers don't always have to be 20 and 5. It could be 15 and 10. It could be 13 and 12. those add up to 25. So right now, by looking at this statement, that's not always going to be true. So that's actually going to be false on the truth value. But if I do the converse, if two numbers are 20 and 5, then the two numbers have the sum of 25. So if I actually add those together, it would be 25, and that's not something that you can change. So that's going to be true on the converse. So that means since this is false and this is true, that means I cannot write a biconditional on that. So this is not a biconditional statement, so I do not even need to worry about the biconditional. So it's not a biconditional. Okay? All right, let's jump to example number 3. All right, so on example number 3, it says, if I want to make an A on the next test, it should say test, then I will have to study more. So let's go ahead and write the converse of that. So that means I'm going to flip the hypothesis and the conclusion. So I'm going to say, if I study more, if I wanted to study more, then I So my converse is, if I studied more, then I will make an A on the next test. So let's go ahead and look at the truth value of those two statements. If I want to make an A on the next test, then I will have to study more. So obviously, if you're wanting to make an A on a test, then you probably want to study more. So I'm going to go and call that a truth value. So if I flip that, if I studied more, then I will make an A on the next test. So I'm going to go ahead and say as well, if you end up studying more, it would end up giving you, hopefully, an A on the next test. So with that being said, the truth value of both of those are going to be true and true. So then I can actually make a biconditional statement. So again, you drop the if and then. So drop the if, drop the then. And then in between the two sentences, you're going to put if and only if. So I want to make an A, or I will make an A on the next test if and only if. So right in this instance, I'm going to put if and only if I will have to study more. So we can actually change the wording there a little bit to make that work. So if I want to make an A on the next test, if and only if I will have to study more. So right there, that's going to end up making it a biconditional because it's going to work both ways. Okay? So the last one is going to be your challenge question. And in your challenge question, I want you to write a statement that can be written as a biconditional statement. So I want you to write out a statement that in return, if I did the converse of it, it would actually form a biconditional statement. So I want you to put that there. Okay? Good luck on your skill check. Let me know if you need any help.